There's a statement that was mentioned by Sadhguru, which is spirituality is not about seeking mystical experiences, it's about seeking transformation. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy around Sadhguru and what he says and who he is. Perhaps that's true, perhaps that's not. But there's an undeniable fact that some of the things that he says are purely and simply true. And this statement is, I totally agree, I totally believe it is, but I have never heard his explanation as to why that is the truth. So I want to look at that statement from my perspective as to why spirituality is not seeking some sort of mystical experience, but it's seeking transformation. Hello and welcome to Productively Mindful. My name is ailandas.sulcas. I hope you enjoy your stay here. I hope you find value in this video. Now, a lot of people get into spirituality because they are seeking some sort of a magical experience from the practices of spirituality. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's some sort of affirmations, maybe it's crystals, maybe it's worshiping some sort of a deity or god, blind devotion, non-blind devotion, conviction in whatever we believe, whatever we see. All those things are fine to some degree. Why I say they're fine to some degree is because not all of them will lead to some sort of a transformation. They're only inefficient and ineffective when we are looking for a mystical experience from them and not transformation. All those things that I just mentioned are fine if they lead to transformation. Spirituality is there to lead us towards the natural flow of life. The natural flow of life can only be experienced within the framework of our body and mind. Life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. Meaning, we are the shepherds of the reality of the life that we experience. So, what do I mean by the natural flow of life? There are some undeniable truths, undeniable facts about life that we simply cannot ignore and cannot deny. That spirituality allows us to see more deeply, allows us to see the connection between who we truly are and how nature works. By simply and purely being present, by not suppressing emotions, by allowing feelings to be there and simply just observing them, all of that leads to a sharper mind. And the problem is that our mind is sharp in areas that we don't really need it to be too sharp in. The way our brain has developed, our prefrontal cortex is very capable of logical thinking. But that logical thinking becomes so capable that it starts overcompensating for the things that it doesn't understand. Logic cannot always make sense of the things that are happening in front of us. So logic has limitations. And because logic looks for answers that have substance, if there is no substance to something that we're searching an answer for, it struggles to figure out what it is. Logic requires some sort of an understanding of whatever we're looking at, which is why speculation comes into play. So the reason why spirituality is so important and why it's important to look at it from a transformational point of view and not mystical point of view is because mystical does not have any substance at all. None. And transformational experience comes from moving from knowing to understanding. So what do we know about ourselves that can allow us to move from knowledge to understanding, which is transformation? We know that we are a clump of vibrating subatomic particles, and those vibrations lead to frequencies, same as the rest of the universe. That is an undeniable fact. We know that. If you, for example, focus your full attention on your hands, on your fingertips, when you close your eyes, that might be a bit easier, you will start sensing a tingling sensation, a pulsing sensation, vibration, pressure, waves going across your hand and fingers and fingertips. That is an undeniable fact, and that is because our mind is sharp enough to sense these things. That is an experience of understanding. That is us sensing those vibrations and frequencies on a very, very surface level. We can go deeper. We can start sensing more substantial frequencies, more stronger frequencies, more consistent frequencies, and through a larger portion of our body. We are sharpening our mind. That is transformational. It's spiritual because we are tuning ourselves to the energies and frequencies that happen within the framework of our body and mind. Now, what does that lead us to? It leads us to a thing that so many of us avoid. It's feeling and emotions. We go through life thinking something bad happens, so I'm just gonna suppress all those feelings, all those emotions, and just crack on and get shit done so I can just be happy with my life. But that happiness comes externally because everything that could allow us to feel happy is suppressed. Bad emotions will eventually make us feel happy because if we allow ourselves to feel bad emotions, we don't suppress them, and then we don't create this this backlog of bad feelings within us, and everything that is left is just good. Emotional suppression is the opposite of that. If you suppress the bad things, you will never be able to feel good things from within. So by sharpening our mind, we are attuning our mind, our awareness, to the biochemical reactions that happen within the framework of our body and mind. They are the precursors to the feelings and emotions that we get throughout our lifetimes. The reason why this is important is because if we have those precursors happen within our awareness, within our observation, before we have the emotions and feelings arise, we stop being impulsive, we stop being reactive. Impulsivity and reactivity is the reason why we become those emotions and feelings when they arise, as opposed to just letting them be, observing them, being aware of them, not giving them substance, so we become them, but not dismissing them, so we suppress them. We simply allow them to be. And that is a big portion of the work that we miss out by looking for a mystical experience when it comes to spirituality. A mystical experience is something that is a result of something that's unexplainable, something that potentially happens on the outside of the framework of our body and mind. Sometimes we might call a mystical experience an awakening, but then for whatever reason, that awakening makes us feel like nothing makes sense, like world has fallen apart. We don't want to communicate with anyone. We don't want to make connections with other people. No one makes sense. Everyone is foreign. People are just brainwashed and doing silly things, following the society norms. That's not awakening. It's not awakening because you have caused yourself more misery than happiness. An awakening should not cause more confusion. An awakening should not cause more misery. Awakening comes from liberation, liberating oneself from the storage of the bad feelings that you have been suppressing for a long, long time. An awakening is finally moving from knowledge to understanding that you should be feeling these bad feelings and not resisting them. So if you have this experience of awakening where these bad feelings are arising and you're like, oh my God, why is this happening? Questioning everything, resisting those bad feelings, you haven't had an experience of awakening. You're at the start of it. You need to go through these bad emotions to start liberating yourself from the storage of everything bad that you have within you. And when you start removing them bit by bit, then you will start realizing that your mind is clearer. You're not hating society as much. You're not hating life as much. Life unfolds a lot freer. There's a lot more clarity in life. There's a lot more consistency in the way you approach life. There's a lot more happiness coming from within, contentment, peace, and joy. This is what transformation is. This is not mystical. There's nothing mystical about spirituality. This is a very simple shift of perspective. And we can only fully believe this by moving from knowledge to understanding. And the only way we will move from knowledge to understanding is through experience. You cannot become a professional driver of your experience of life without actually driving. without actually practicing the driving part of things. It is as simple as that. I hope this video makes sense. It probably was a little bit of a ramble because I went all over the place. I have a free community called the Flame Keepers, somebody who looks after their flame, their soul, by no longer suppressing their emotions, mindfully integrating them, and turning them into their superpower to become a spiritual warrior. If that's something that you're interested in, the community is completely free. The link is underneath this video. We have daily affirmation guidance there, weekly group meetings. We have 3 weekly themes where I check in with you emotionally. I'll give you some tools and techniques on how to work through your emotions mindfully, how to integrate them, how to do shadow work, how to move through spirituality properly. And I also encourage people to share their weekly wins there, regardless of how small or big they are. We also have exclusive monthly content, one of which is going to be coming out probably the day that this video is being released. And we also have a meditation bank there that I will be redoing very, very soon because the one that I have done has gone corrupted. Hooray. So I'll be redoing that very, very soon. Also leave a comment. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? I'm also eager to hear your opinion because everything that I talk about is very personal. It all comes from my experience. Like the video, subscribe. These things allow that video to be pushed out to a wider audience. It really helps me, it helps the channel. And the more people watch these videos, the more value I can give to everybody. Otherwise, this has been ailandas.sulcas from Productively Mindful. I love you all, as always, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Goodbye. Yeah.